Hi all, and welcome to my channel, Fred Makes Things, and our last Sewers Club project review video. This is September 2025. I haven't seen Junior today, so I figured that if I turned on the lights and started talking to myself, he'd show up. So let's see how long it takes for him to make his appearance. But yeah, this video is going to be in two parts. Part one is who was Sewers Club, what came in the box, and then part two is going to be talking about the project itself. Quickly before we get started, I do want to say hello everybody. Hello to any new subscribers, the OGs, anyone in between. Hello to the people who are curious about Sewers Club and have clicked on this video to see what that was all about. And to anyone else who just happened to have this video suggested to you in the algorithm. You are all so very much appreciated, and your thoughtful comments are always so very welcome down in the comment section. Before I get started, I do want to say that this is the last project video for Sewers Club, but it's not going to be my last Sewers Club video. In 2 weeks after I do the quilt update video next Wednesday, the Wednesday after that, I'm going to talk about what Sewers Club kind of meant to me. I have been getting this box since January of 2021, so that's like 4 years and a bit, I would say. A lot of projects, we'll put it that way, a lot of projects with Sewers Club. And I kind of want to share all the projects that we did and how they really helped me with my sewing journey, learning how to sew, all of that jazz. So if you are a Sewers Club subscriber and you have project photos and things that you want to share, feel free to send those to my email at fredmakesthings@gmail.com, and I will share them with everybody as well. Just because Sewers Club has been really integral in, like I said, my sewing adventure, very integral to this channel, and I just want to kind of recognize that in a video. So again, if you have anything from Sewers Club that you want to share, feel free to send me an email, fredmakesthings@gmail.com. And let's get started. Let's do part one, who is Sewers Club and what came in the box. So Sewers Club started as a monthly subscription box company where they sent you everything that you needed to make one sewing project. That's the fabric, the pattern, the thread, any kind of fusible fleece or zippers or closures or anything like that required to make the project. It was all included. All you needed was your general sewing supplies. For an additional roughly $10 a month, they also sent you a Notions add-on. I got the add-ons because when I first started getting this box, I was brand new to sewing. And then as I continued to do these unboxings and stuff for you, it just made sense to me to keep sharing what was in it. And often the things that I got were stuff I'd never seen before or had no clue about or needed replenishment on. So I liked the Notions add-on. I liked Sewers Club in general. They have other subscriptions as well, right? They had Stash Builder. If you weren't curious about what Stash Builder was, I'll link you to my most recent Stash Builder unboxing video. Those were a series of fat quarters or half yard cuts that you could get in various colors and patterns and delivery options and whatnot. So yeah, that is who Sewers Club was. They're a Canadian company, and as such, navigating, trying to get things into the United States through various tariffs and duties and the loss of the $800 de minimis and all of the uncertainty and everything like that made Sewers Club make the decision to no longer provide these subscription boxes. There is one more box left for Canadian and international customers, but this is the final box that they sent out to the customers in the US. So let's take a look inside. Let's see what came in this box. So as I work on stuff, everything goes back into the box. That way I could come back and let you all know what came in the box, what was left after working on it, that sort of thing. I do these for all of my subscription boxes. So I do get some crochet subscription boxes. I hope to get more other kinds of project boxes or something like that in the future. But this is like standard practice. So Junior's here. Almost 6 minutes into the video. That might be a record. Unfortunately, he cannot stay because we're looking at things, but I'm sure he'll come back. And sitting next to me on a little footstool I have by my chair is Susie. So if you hear any low purrs, that's from her. She might be too far from the mic though for you to hear her. But anyway, so what came in this box? So we had Deborah's Passport Pal as the final project. Mixed reviews on this being the last project from some of my commenters and stuff like that. I don't mind it. Every Sewers Club is really good at mixing bigger projects in with smaller projects. They do a lot of a lot of like baskets and totes and bags and things like, well, not totes, but baskets and small bags and projects like that. They usually have like a quilting project a year, things like that. And they always end up having something, at least one project be a very quick, on the smaller side kind of project. And I think that's what this year's was one of their quick, smaller projects. And I'm okay with that. I also don't mind it being a Passport Pal. The instructions are clear enough that you could easily change it up for different things. So even though some people were not thrilled about it being their last project, I'm okay with it. So we've got Deborah's Passport Pal. Then we had Fusible Fleece. I made both projects. They gave us enough fabric to make two virtue holders, so I did that, and this is still how much fabric I had left. So I still have like a decent size of Fusible Fleece, a couple of smaller Fusible Fleece strips. This was our yarn this month. It was a Gutermann polyester number 907. I had this. I have 3 spools. I had 3 spools of this upstairs. I had a larger spool that I finished off. And I have 2 smaller spools in this exact same color too. So I think Sewers Club sent it to me a couple times, and I believe I probably picked it up for some sort of project in the past. So I've had this color. We'll talk, did I forget the, oh, no, there it is. Our Notions add-ons were a friction pen. I like these too. I think they work really, really well. And then this, it's called a seam remover. And I was a bit dubious about it at first, but I'm gonna share my, well, I'll tell you now. This thing is awesome. I really like this thing. I'm making my temperature quilt, and I had sewn the entirety of the last half of August wrong again. Like, it's the second time I've done that. I had my seams pointing in the wrong direction. Not my seams, but my squares pointing in the wrong direction. And I used this to split every single one of my seams open. And what's really cool about it is because of the way that it is designed, I didn't put holes in anything. So I managed to rip all of the seams out fairly quickly. And it was like 14 seams, 15 seams that I had to rip out. And this thing worked like a dream. And then for fabric, we have this kind of woven cotton fabric that was used as our fabric bee piece. This is really, really beautiful fabric, really nice, really soft. I have these 2 strips, and then I have this much left of it. So it was like it was a quarter cut, right, of the whole fabric. And so I have, well, I guess I've got my measuring tape. I've got about 14 inches of it by 9 inches left of this main piece of fabric. These we'll talk about in a second. Or fabric B. I have this much left of my fabric A in the one print. So quite the strip. And then I've got like this piece here left too, and I've got like this strip here as well. Time to move Junior. God, he always sounds like he's being thrown, and he just lands so hard. So this is we've got 22 inches by about 6 inches, 6¼ inches on this fabric. And then we have about the exact same amount of fabric left on the second fabric that we chose. So if you only did one of these, you would have like an entire 1/4 inch or 1/4 yard strip of fabric left. I think I just realized at the beginning of the video, I said, I set this up like it was an unboxing video and not a review video. So I'm sure I corrected that in the opening, but as I'm talking, I just realized that is what I said. So a decent amount of fabric, right? We had 3 cuts of a width of fabric by 1/4 yard, right? So what's that, 9 inches? So enough to do something with. They also sent us a lovely little goodbye note and like a list of what we had in each, like in the box. So that was really, really cool. Yeah, let's get into part 2, looking at the project itself. So like I said, I made 2 of these, and one of my commenters, Susan, said that she really did not like the ties on here. She thought the ties, I don't remember her exact words were, but she said the ties were like messy or sloppy or something. Like she wasn't a fan of the ties. And as I was making them, I thought, you know, she could be right. Like the ties are not for everybody. I think the ties fit this style of fabric really well, but I don't think that it fit this style. So we'll talk about this one second and how I kind of changed it up. But here is the passport holder. Here's the top. Here's the inside. Here's the back. Now I kind of fussy cut the fabric so that these large diamonds kind of took center stage. My fabric was cut in a way that I could. The diamonds are like 8 inches long and the cut was 7 inches, so they're not perfect, but I think they turned out quite well. And then having this centered like that was sheer accident, but I think it turned out looking pretty cool. Right? This is all that you see of that beautiful purple fabric, but it's all on the interior as well. And then we have our ties. I think I tied the ties on upside down, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. And then I had one handmade tag left that sewer sent out in a previous box, and so after I assembled it all together and I knew where it was going to end up sitting, I just added the handmade tag. What's neat about this fab pattern is that you sew your handle or your ties all the way down. Like this whole section here is all tied down and secured, right? Which makes it for a very reinforced kind of thing. And then the way that you sew it, you end up getting just like this little purple edge detailing, which is nice. And your purple fabric ends up being a little bit smaller than your exterior fabric. So you have like a little bit of an edge in here that is empty on both sides, but it's still closed in. And then how they had you put it together was that so you would end up having no outwardly visible seams. And then they wanted you to hand stitch it closed, but I just quickly turned it inside out and did a closing stitch instead. So that is how the first one turned out. Now here's the passport holder that I have, that I use. I got it off of Amazon. It was like $9 or something. I don't know. At least 6 years ago, probably longer, because I ordered it when I was living in France. I got it because of the color and because I needed a passport holder, especially living in Europe. I traveled a lot, right? I traveled back to Canada all of the time. I traveled within Europe quite a bit. I traveled I went to Japan once with my husband. I traveled a lot, and I used my passport as my main form of identification. I had a French long-term stay visa, like a residency card and stuff like that, but I much prefer to use my passport. And so this is what I have, right, as my passport holder. These are things that usually always live in my passport case because I never take them out. And then this is my passport, right? And so this fits in here quite nicely, and it fits in here quite nicely as well. It's not as secure as this guy, but you have the tie, right? So it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to flop around, right? And it just sits like that. So size-wise to my old passport holder or my regular passport holder, it's just a little bit taller and it's a little bit narrower, but it works quite well. So that's this print here and how it turns out, how it turned out. Now for the second print, I had everything cut out. I was kind of working through it, and then I saw Susan's comment, right, about not liking the ties. And I thought, you know, I could change that up. I'm only partway through this project. So I had everything cut up and I was getting ready to, no, I'd already sewn the ties on. So I was getting ready to do the final steps. And when I read that comment, I thought, you know, she's right. Some people won't like the ties. So I started playing around with ideas. And there's many ways of doing this without having to sew this whole tie down. But because I had already sewn it down, I kind of went with what I had. And so I played around with this one. I tucked this in like this, right, to kind of create like a clean edge. I wrapped this around and then I kind of measured out on here, like where I would want my snap to be. If I did a snap, right, I folded this inside, kind of played around with dimensions and stuff like that. And I ended up coming up with this idea. So the tie, like this, right, comes all the way over. It's not sewn down, it is loose. But you could easily sew it down. You could also create like a pocket here if you wanted to, right? By like having your, well, anyway, I'd have to mess around more with that, but right, I sewed the tie down in here and trimmed it, which is where this comes from. So I sewed the tie down, trimmed off the excess, and then closed it up. Did all of the steps that I did with this first one on this second one. And then when it came time for this, I still had, right, part of this to go. So I just did a really quick fold over a couple of times just to hide my raw edge, sewed that down, and then I did just like a snap, right? I had this open still up in, I don't know, one of the corners was still open, this side. Oh, I didn't sew it all the way shut, but this side, right, it was still open. So I went up and in, I put just like a plastic snap on here and a snap here to close it up like that. So I kept it the same all the way around, so it has that same look, but now it's a snap closure instead of a tie. If you wanted to do something like this, I will put down in the description box the sizing changes that I made, like how much you would need to cut for this, because like you wouldn't want to cut it like I did. You'd want to close it inside first and then cut it, right? So you'd want to make it like you did like these in here, but instead of doing an angle, you would just do like a straight up and down stitch, right, to clean that up. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of share that I did two different ways of closing on this lovely guy. And then for this one here, again, here's my passport. It sits in here just nicely, just fine. And then you can go about your merry way. Now, the other thing too, I was thinking about when I was making this, is that I have a remarkable tablet. It is upstairs. I forgot to bring it downstairs. But, ooh, I have my Kindle. I can show it to you with my Kindle. So say you have something of a different size that you want to use this on. You probably have enough fabric if you were to do, like if you were using like an old school Kindle like this guy. But you could easily alter this pattern, right, to make it so that you could slide your Kindle in this way and then have accessories and stuff sit in this pocket too, right? Anything that you want to, like, you can slide in nicely, it would work really well for this, right? Because it's just like a little fold over portfolio thing. So like, right, you could alter to make it fit this. My Remarkable is the size of a piece of paper, so you could do it to alter to fit to that, right? You would just have to play around with your dimensions a little bit. But basically the construction on this is you got one big long strip for the front that you fold over, right? You fold it in half and then half again. Like this is really cool. They have you have it sit like about an inch apart from each other, right? In the instructions they walk you through how wide they want. So I would keep like that width to it. But I think mathing this out to make it work for whatever you want to slide it into would work really well. So yeah, I guess let's get into part 3, pros, cons, and user error. So pro, I like these. I don't know how often I will use them. I will try it out with my passport to see how it goes. But I do like having like extra space on this side to hold cards when I'm traveling. Like you saw, I have my green card in here, my permanent residency card for the US. I have an old business card of my husband's in there. I still have my vaccination, proof of vaccination record in there too. I like to tuck my luggage receipts, right? My tracking stuff for my luggage. I tuck my extra, like my boarding passes as I use them, right? I tuck my boarding passes and stuff as I use them on this side. Like I keep a credit card in here when I'm traveling, and then this is basically, I use this as my, like as a mini wallet, right? I keep some cash in here, a couple of bills, things like that. So this here is really cute, and it's just not as convenient with two, but I still like the look of it, and I like the fact that I can alter it to make other things quite easily. I really like the fabric that they sent this year. Two completely different looks for the main fabric, but they both work really well for the secondary fabric, right? I like the idea of it. I like the ties. I think the ties are really cute. They're not quite long enough to make a bow, but you can right, like double knot it, do like a little half bow if you wanted to. I like that about it. And I like that it was a small, easy little project. And I like that the fact that they recognize that it is a small, easy little project. So they sent us two, or enough fabric to make two. So yeah, cons. Not everybody needs a passport holder. It is on the simpler side. Sewers Club is ending. That's the biggest con for me. But yeah, user error. I don't think I have any user error. I didn't have to go back and cut anything apart. I didn't have to go back and fix any of my seams. There was some fussing around with this one, but I was making something, like altering something that I'd already gotten started on. So there's that. But in general, I think it came together pretty well. Final thoughts and sign off, part 4. I've tried to do this 3 times now, and I keep ending up in a rant. And I don't want to rant. So I really like this project. I like the pattern, I like the tutorial, and I like how in my mind I'll be able to adapt it to other things. I'm sure that will be a future video. I like the fabrics they sent out. I like the colors that they chose. I saw some people get the green version, and I'm happy I got the purple version, but I think the green would be pretty cool too when it's all like worked up and put together. I liked Sewers Club. Sewers Club's my favorite subscription box. It's my favorite company. Their customer service is great. Their boxes are great. Their price point is great. And I'm really sad to see them go. I would understand if they were retiring or other reasons, but I'm not happy that they had to close these subscriptions. They had to shut it down because of the relationship between Canada and the US at the moment. It's not fair, it's not right, and it never needed to happen. But that's where I'm going to end that, because that's where I've gone off the rails a few times now. Yeah, I don't know what the future holds for subscription boxes, for fabric, for yarn, for future crafts. I don't know where any of it holds, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next months or years. Oh, we will see. So Yeah, now that you've seen it put together, what do you think of this project? I know it's not a fan favorite, but I hope that maybe seeing it put together has changed like a little bit of thoughts, possibly. What do we have coming up? Friday is an unboxing video for you. It's a haul / unboxing video. I ordered from a different yarn company, so we're gonna see what that looks like. Monday is undecided at the moment. It could be me finally talking about like some of the things I did and picked up while I was in Edmonton over the summer, because I've been putting that video off. Not for any main reason, but other things have just taken priority. Wednesday is our quilt update video, and then Friday is also undecided at the moment. So if any of that stuff interests you, do think about subscribing. As a reminder, if you want to share your own Sewers Club projects, in my video in 2 weeks, I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, do send me in photos or thoughts or what have you to my email address. It's down in the description box. Like the video if you've made it to the end. Like the video if you liked Sewers Club, if you liked these projects, anything like that. You know, it helps the algorithm. So yeah, subscribe if you want to see what else is in store for me. Also let me know if there's other project subscription boxes that you are interested in seeing unboxings and thoughts on. I'd be curious to see what's out there. Not quilting, because I want to focus more on projects than quilts, and there's quite a few quilting boxes that are out there, I know. So yeah, with all of that being said, I'm going to say thank you so much for watching, and I will talk with you again soon. Bye!